Hi, this is Casey Wright, Principal with Right Stuff Marketing Solutions. Welcome to our second lesson in the Simple series. This lesson is entitled Simply Direct Marketing. And the purpose for this presentation is to provide you with the basics that you're going to need to do a great job with direct marketing, and to give you some pointers as to how direct marketing can help you and help your business. Quite simply, direct marketing is communicating the features and benefits of a product or a service to a specific audience with the ability for that customer to place an order. So, direct marketing includes direct mail, that includes catalogs, as well as e-commerce, direct response radio, direct response television, and print ads. There are lots of different parts to the direct marketing program, but some of the most important ones are listed on this slide. These include customer lists, and those would be every time a customer answers your ad, you need to gather as much information from them as you can, including what their previous purchases were. Now, there's a term called RFM, that's recency, frequency, and monetary value. These are the three most important points to analyze when deciding which customers are most important to you. And you'll see as we discuss this why each of these three can be more important depending on your product, depending on what is going on with the offer and other things. Recency means how long ago did they purchase? Obviously, a customer who purchased last month is probably more valuable than one that purchased, say, 5 years ago. Frequency indicates how often they purchase from you. Now, if you have an item that has a useful life of 10 years, frequency probably isn't that important. But if it's consumable, then frequency is very, very important. And knowing how often people use these things up will then guide which ones of those names and what frequency you need to go and remarket to these people. And then the last is monetary value. Very, very important. Somebody can order from you all the time, but they may spend very little. So the average order value might be low. On the other hand, someone might just purchase from you, say, once every 6 months, but they place a very large order. And so monetary value of that potential customer is very, very important, and you should sort your lists by RFM. Prospect lists. Now, prospect lists are people who have not purchased from you before. There are some very important rules about prospect lists. First of all, you can get those lists from list brokers. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at your product, look at similar products, rent lists for you. Now, again, this is a list rental. For the most part, you can only use that list for one mailing. If the people respond to you, then that name becomes yours. But if they don't respond, you can't mail it a second time unless you have a previous agreement with the list owner. Once you get that list, you're then going to want to purge it against your house list. You don't want to be mailing out 2 catalogs to the same person. So you will merge the prospect list with your customer list, and you will purge one of those names. And typically what you're going to want to do is purge the prospect name, since the customer name is already yours and is free. The third item is the response tracking system. Now, you'll notice on catalogs that there are codes, usually on the address side. Now, those are typically called effort codes, and there's a specific code for each catalog, as well as it could be for each mailing within a catalog. And it also then will indicate which list that name came from. Now, another aspect of tracking is seasonality. When do people purchase? Are they more likely to purchase your products in the fall or in the spring? So that will also tell you when you want to mail the largest number of catalogs or direct response letters. Your response mechanism. You can send the catalog out, you can send a postcard out, you can send a direct mail piece out, you can place a radio or TV spot, but what does the customer do when they get this? If they want to place an order, you need to have enough agents available. If it's a TV spot, it's going to have a very, very short, what they call half-life. In other words, it could be a half an hour during the commercial and thereafter when you get 90% of your calls. Whereas a catalog might have a half-life of 2 weeks to 2 months. So make sure that you have a call center. Make sure that you have put a business reply card into your direct response letter if it goes out. And if it's an email system, or even if it's just a web e-commerce page, what you want to make sure is that you have some kind of autoresponder that indicates to the customer that we've heard them, we know that they want a certain product, and that we will get back to them. Either ship it or get back to them to answer their questions. And then the offer. Well, that has to be very, very clear, and the offer can be put as part of an ad, part of an email. It can be on your web page, part of a radio or TV commercial. It can be a classified ad, or it can be a display ad. And then fulfillment, that's a very, very important part, and particularly since people like Amazon now are shipping so quickly. Fulfillment is how do you get the order out to people when they do place it. So you can't run out of stock, and you have to turn it around very quickly. And if you can't, you need to communicate with your customers and let them know. And then finally, the accounting. Credit cards are the method of payment, but you could also use some other online payment systems. But either way, you have to make sure that the banking rules are held to for all accounting, and that you process the payment only when the item ships. If you're intending to be successful in direct marketing, what you really need to do is to pay attention to these following 8 items. The first is you need to target the offer to the audience. Make sure that depending on the psychographics and demographics of your audience, you've decided what kinds of offers really mean something to them. If it's an affluent group, you really don't want to be offering something at a high discount. You're going to be offering quality. The second item is urgency. You need to stress that they need to make the decision about purchasing the item immediately. Now that can be either a limited time offer, or it can be the fact that there's a limited quantity of these. It can be a popularity thing, which is everyone is getting these, so you need to get one too. Those kinds of things, but you have to get them to move. They need to place the order. And ensure that at all times, from every piece that you send to them, they can respond. So on every page of your catalog, every piece in your direct mail, whenever you're running a TV ad or a radio spot, make sure that the 800 number, that your URL is visible, so that at any one point people can place an order. Study the competition. Now, what I like to do is I like to sign up with the competition to get their catalogs, get their direct mail pieces, see what's working for them, what they've repeated over and over, what the standard is as far as offers is concerned. And make sure that you study the competition, but don't take it in that they're doing everything right, because often they aren't. And that really brings us to our next thing: test. Test. So whether these are A/B splits for your covers, tests for offers, tests for the mailing lists, you should always have a control. In other words, that is your design for your catalog or direct mailing piece that has worked best. Use that as your control and see if you can test another design another offer, another color combination that works better, and then make that your control. But you have to test every time. You can't assume that just because you get a good response that you're going to continue to, because there are things like list fatigue, offer fatigue, or just seasonality, or the fact that people's interests change. Support the brand in the message. Make sure that whatever it is that you represent, that it is flooded throughout everything you send out. Now, some of that may be easy. It can be your logo, it can be your colors, whatever. But also the messaging, the words you use, the tone you use, really need to speak to that potential customer as you are, as your identity says you are. You need to track loyalty. Now, the one thing that I always look at is the house list growing? In other words, your customer list. Is it growing? Or have people requested that you take them off the mailing list? And by the way, if they do ask you to do that, you have to comply. The last thing is track the value of each customer over time. And that's where we were talking about the recency, frequency, and monetary value. Track the values of each customer. In other words, if you want to use a period of time like 5 years and rate the various customers by their value to you, and that will indicate to you which ones you want to mail more, which ones you want to mail better offers to, which ones you want to solicit for your loyalty program. So these are the 8 very important rules. Direct mail has the following elements in it. Now, we will also look at catalogs, but this is just for direct mail pieces. The first piece is an outgoing envelope, or an OGE. An OGE often has to have a teaser on it, and what I mean by a teaser is something to get the person to open that envelope. This is extremely important. If it looks plain, that it looks like it was sent out bulk mail, that there's no real reason to open it up, people won't. They really do think of it as junk mail, and you will have spent thousands of dollars to see people put these in their recycling bin. So make sure you have a compelling teaser on the front of the envelope. Other people will often put some kind of involvement device saying, tear off this sticker and make sure that you put it on the clown's nose on the inside. The second piece, and it doesn't seem like it would be that important, but it's extremely important. Many people will read the letter. The letter is where you can tell the story of your company, you can tell why this is important for the person, and why you selected their name. The third item is the brochure, or supporting device. A brochure is really for those people who don't necessarily like to read, but are very visually oriented. This should show your product in use. It should answer some FAQs, some frequently asked questions. And it should get the sizzle out to the potential customer. Now, the following item, an involvement device, one would think is a little cheesy, but they actually work. And this is where you ask someone to take a sticker off of a one form and put it on another form, or you ask them to check boxes for you, or in some way you get them involved in the process while you're asking them for the order. It's been very effective for years, continues to be. You have to have an order form. Now, the order form can be as simple as a large card with your URL driving them to your website, or it can be actually an order form that allows them to mail back to you the order information. And that's where either a business reply envelope, and it should be posted Don't expect that your customer is going to put a stamp on this thing for you, or a BRC, a business reply card, and this can be a postcard. Now, there are various methods for the order forms. In some cases, they are order forms with several folds so that the customer can take that order form, fold it over, seal it, and send it back. But I will tell you the one most important piece, and that's that you need to make it easy for them to respond. If you ask them to go find a stamp, if you ask them to write a lot of information down, they are not going to do it. So any way that you can have that order form pre-filled out with their information, and there are easy ways to do that, then that's one less thing they're going to have to do to place the order. So these are the elements of direct mail. This is Casey Wright, Principal with Right Stuff Marketing Solutions. We hope you enjoyed this first section of our simple series, Lesson 2, Simply Direct Marketing. Please check out the second half of this series for more information on direct marketing and how it can help your business. You know, if you'd like to learn more or need help with your strategic marketing plans, please get in touch with us at Right Stuff Marketing Solutions. You can call us at 978-500-9232, or you can visit our website at www.rightstuffmarketing.com. Thank you very much. Look forward to hearing from you.